Gandalf? Is it Gandalf? Oh, Dumbledore.
You made so many enemies.
Wizards.
Yeah. You're going to do these circuits, know your wizards.
Is this all mine?
Yeah, you can.
This feels like therapy.
Yeah, it's really light.
Tell us about your childhood.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'll save that for the book.
Yeah.
Until the legal disputes clear up, you can keep it in there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Welcome to Belgium, first time or?
Yes, I've never been to Belgium before. No, this is the first time. So yeah, it is really nice. We're going to have a good walk around later on.
What if you have a beer? Watch out. Your beer is so strong.
Really?
Matt pretty much had to carry
No.
numerous times.
What's the best beer to have? Come on, you look like a load of drinkers to me.
Yeah.
Stella, I can get that at the local Astor. Leffe. Oh, okay.
I found the darker the beer, the worse my head is in the morning. That's the trick.
That's because you keep drinking it in the morning.
Yeah. How else? You've got to just roll it on, you know.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question that everybody wants to know. How fun was it?
Yes, I am sorry.
Good, okay. Thank you very much. How much fun was it being in Hot Fuzz?
Yeah.
I love being in Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Brilliant. We had a really good laugh. It was like being in school with your friends, like being on a summer camp with all your best friends from school.
Have you seen your DVD extras resurface recently?
Yeah,
you
that's
stay in character.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely. If you don't know this, Paddy's character in Hot Fuzz, did you joke or something that you were going to do the DVD interviews in character or something like that?
No, I just did them because, I don't know, I get so bored of those things. So, just to keep myself amused really, I did it in, kind of in character, you know, I wasn't doing the voice, but I did the whole thing,
It's so nice. If you haven't seen it, absolutely go on Google when you're home on YouTube and find it. It's so good. I mean, this is the thing with you. I guess this sort of convention is kind of a new circuit because of House of Dragon.
Yeah.
But your career, I've been obsessed with your career since your Shane Meadows days. The amount of times I've watched Dead Man's Shoes when I was at uni is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing about that sort of indie circuit in the UK is basically a handful of you just do really interesting things.
Yeah, we did, if this was in the UK now, if I did a signing there, you get a lot of Dead Man's Shoes fans coming up. I don't know, it hit something, it hit a vein with people at a certain age, at a certain time, that film.
Yeah.
And it's become this cult film that people seem to, actually a new generation of people have started to discover now, yeah. And it's great, what you're talking about is great, but you know, as an actor, you kind of want to do all different things and break out from that a little bit, you know.
I don't think you can get any further from Dead Man's Shoes than House of Dragon, to be fair.
Yeah.
They are very different vibe. It's an interesting time, isn't it? Obviously, because of Netflix and all the streaming stuff, it's become a very international business again. There's all these big shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself still drawn more towards TV or film, or is it just wherever the job is? If you
never had a preference, ever, never. In many ways, TV's the new cinema anyway. I think there was definitely a time with actors where there was a separation between television and film. You know, I'm a film actor, and you know, you're a lowly television actor or something. That's not me, by the way. But there seemed to be a general vibe of that, you know. And I never subscribed to it because so many great actors came through the route of television, you know, in the UK and in America. So I think the lines between cinema and television are blurred now anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't have a preference. I just want to play good parts. So if it's a play, you know, I've only ever done one play, but it was a long one, and you know, we did it in London, then on Broadway and that. I just want to do great parts, and he was a great part. So it didn't matter to me what format he came in. Yeah. You know, I've been waiting a really long time for a character like Viserys Targaryen. So he was a massive gift. you know, I love that character genuinely. I think he's my favourite character I've ever played.
But there's been a lot, because obviously House of Dragon was such a big move for Game of Thrones in itself as their first spin-off. But there's been so much talk about Viserys specifically, about how much you did interpret that character and how much you really gave yourself to that character. Which was like, it was trending on Twitter every week, like how much you did and all the stuff like that. Was it completely like, did you probably just give so much of yourself into that, or did you just create something brand new and build it from the ground up?
There was, you know, there's so much that you're, as an actor, sometimes you're just doing a job, and then sometimes there's so much you want to say. And Viserys was somebody, he was such a gift in many ways, and one of them was that I was able to imbue him with experiences that I'd had. And some of that was observing my parents decline in their health too, you know. So I was able to use these things and put them into Viserys. Also, I saw him as a very multi-dimensional character, and I thought he was a really interesting character in that world because he wasn't corrupted by power or privilege. He was a good-hearted man at his core. And I thought that was unusual for that world. And in actual fact, I don't go on Twitter and things like that, but some of the feedback for Viserys early on was that people didn't like it. You know, they were all in love with the Daemons and the characters I feel that they could completely identify off the bat were the ones that people liked. Whereas, and I didn't understand that, like, why do people hate Viserys? You know, I don't get it. I thought he was a great character. But it was nice to be able to sit back and go, just wait a few weeks and let's see what happens.
Get to know me, I'll be alright. But that was his thing, it's like you say, everyone was so... Game of Thrones had such a legacy, especially tied into the Targaryen name and everything like that you walked into. To see him sort of being a bit apprehensive, I think everyone was like, oh, what's this guy's deal? But just to continually be good was such, like you say, a breath of fresh air. Like, by the end of it, everyone was just talking about like, oh no, John, he can't go, he can't go.
Yeah, they missed him when he was gone.
Yeah.
But they thought he was weak, and because he wasn't somebody that was going to just engage in war for the sake of it, he was respectful of these dragons as being like nuclear weapons, and he wasn't going to go to war. He understood why the Targaryens had their power, and he wasn't going to abuse it. He didn't want to abuse it. So he was a responsible man. My job was to make that not boring for him, you know. But I just think it was just really interesting watching it play out and watch people's perception of him change as the weeks went on, and they started to sort of love him, which I thought was great.
You said that he's one of your favourite characters you've played. Is there a type of character that you've yet to play that you'd really like to, or would you want to do more like him?
I think he's a one-off for me, but there's other characters. It's a very strange thing when you read something, it has to happen on so many different levels. And the best characters I've played, I've had an emotional reaction to them when I've read it. And there's always a little bit of you in them. And I think that was the difference with Viserys and the performance it became, and what was different in George's books. And what was even on the page was that Miguel Sapochnik, who was the director and showrunner on it, after the read-through, which was dreadful, I thought I was going to get sacked. He just stood in front of me and looked at me and he went, "We need to put more Paddy in this character."
Wow.
And I just was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, that's what you want." And there was a weird thing that happened from that moment on. I just owned him. I went, "He's mine." And that's how the writers felt, and that's how the directors felt. There was almost a sense of leaving because Viserys is his, and that was a really great thing and a really liberating thing to do.
Yeah. Did it mean that? Did that ever lead into things like ad-libbing on set, or?
Yeah, I mean you can't really ad-lib.
No, I.
That's, you know, it's hard to ad-lib in Westeros. You know, the stepstones, and no, don't destroy the stepstones, I went on holiday there. You can't riff, it's not going to happen. But you can if the circumstances are right. There was a few key improvisations. The biggest one was at the end, scene when Viserys is dying and he says the words, "my love." And I'd always held this secret about him, that the minute his wife dies, he's just got this great tragedy in him, and secretly he doesn't really want to live himself. So when he starts to get sick and get sicker, he never asks for help. If you watch the show again, he's never saying, "stop this thing from killing me or taking over me." It's the maesters and his hand and everybody else that's going, "We need to, we need to work on it, we need to find a cure." Viserys doesn't want a cure. He secretly makes a pact with himself that he's assigned himself to die, effectively.
Yeah, I always read that as your body changing was as your grief got more profound, and your guilt because of that decision, obviously, that led to your...
And also, psychologically, it's that strange thing that, talk about bringing elements of yourself. There's that inherent Catholic guilt about you should be punished for things that you did wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that he felt that he deserved to be punished after trying to, the misunderstood again was that he killed his wife and he hadn't. He had to make a decision to put his wife through a terrible procedure to save his child, their child, otherwise they were both going to die. Emma was always going to die, but the procedure was such that it was going to save the child, and in the end he lost both. And I think he never forgave himself, so tying it into that improvisation at the end, I just had this idea that when he was on his deathbed and he was having his last breath, there's a moment where he looks above him and he sort of reaches out and touches somebody that we can't see, they're invisible. But it was the face of Emma, and then as the lights go out and he passes through with his last breath, he just says the words, my love, and then passes through. And that stayed in the show, which was great.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was really, really moving as well. What's interesting about that as well, all that weight of character, you're not just playing a character in the sense of a normal Game of Thrones character where you've got 6, 7 seasons and 2 years of moved by. You've got that half a lifetime. So how do you evolve your own personality in the character to fit the age of the character? Is that something you have to do?
You've just got to imbue it with qualities, and things. You've got to give it beliefs and virtues and things. You've just got to build it. And some of that's your pain as well. It's a character that you create. You've got to fill it with life. But the actual, because I was in, when I got the script, I put it this way. I die in everything. I just die, And there's a big joke with friends. It's like, they know I'm going to die in whatever I do.
You and Sean Bean should get a help group.
Yeah.
Guys from sort of the middle north of England.
Yeah.
We just die.
I don't think about it. I just get a job and go, but, they die. They all die. But I was sort of disappointed a little bit as well, because I thought, great, 1 season. But when I read the story and read the arc, I went, well, what a story, what a character, and what a way to go out. Because, people did comment that they didn't necessarily need to do all those time jumps, and we could have lived longer with the younger cast and spread it out. But I honestly think that Viserys would have got boring. Honestly, I think if we were in season 2 now, and we're only halfway through the story of season 1, I just think it'd be boring. So I'm happy in that way that it ended, and the episode 8 where Viserys died was a real moment, where it seemed to resonate all around the world collectively, and I've never had that before with anything, so it was bittersweet, really.
Would you say then that you've been finding acting quite therapeutic, because you were talking about putting yourself into it and drawing on your childhood or your knowledge and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if it's therapeutic. I don't think it is. I don't. It's just, it's just experience. Your life is experience, and sometimes sometimes you're given the opportunity to take those experiences and put them into something like that show and that character. That's all. I don't find it particularly therapeutic as such, but like in episode 8, because I don't really like to watch myself anyway, but my wife watched the episode, she said, you need to see this. And when I watched the final moments of him dying, and it was too much because, you know, without being morbid, I looked like my dying father when he was dying in a bed of cancer. And it wasn't just a reminder, I looked like him.
Wow.
And so that was quite a horrible shock in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't think it,
It's the opposite of therapeutic.
yeah, it is really, yeah. You know, you sometimes drag things up. It's not necessarily at all times for every character and every performance. It really isn't. You know, a lot of it can be imagination, but sometimes you just get to wear the clothes and you get to share something of what your life experience has been. But I didn't realise it'd become in the framework of a mythical king in a mythical show, you know. So I don't really care. Like going back to what you said, I don't care what the format is or what the story is. I saw the gold in him. I thought he was an absolute gift, and you know, I was amazed. My first question, because I'm a cynic, is, well, who turned this down? Who didn't want to play it? You know, and you know, Big Al and Brian Condell, the showrunner and writer, said nobody. This is yours, and then you go, why? And then I kind of go home and I'll say, if I was making this, I'd cast X, Y, and Z. I kind of do that kind of rubbish, you know?
Yeah, it's surreal because I think everyone here would agree. Yeah, even now you agree. It is you.
Oh
it's
yeah,
your
nobody
character.
could have done that.
No.
Nobody.
But it's amazing to think that someone of your stature would still go, oh.
Yeah, well you do,
Yeah.
because it never leaves you, the demon of doubt.
Oh,
You know,
great.
it doesn't
Okay.
leave you.
Thank you,
No,
look
but
forward to
listen,
that.
it don't leave you, but you get better at dealing with it.
There's some photos you're doing today that are going to make some great t-shirts one day.
Yeah.
That you can't have live in Westeros, put more Paddy in the character. This is a franchise, just t-shirt quotes. We are going to open the floor to questions because we know you guys love questions. We got, yeah, we'll make our way through. Thomas is coming with the
It's
mic.
coming. Just to put in that context as well, so I don't sound too conceited like nobody could have played it.
No, you don't.
But like, for example, I was in a Bourne film years ago.
Yeah, walking through Waterloo Station.
Anybody could have played that. And you know, it doesn't matter that I'm in it. You know, I mean it. It doesn't matter that I'm the one running around like a headless chicken. It could have been a number of actors, but not that guy.
It's interesting that you view, roles like that, because I can't imagine any of your roles being anyone else now, especially not the series, because like you say, it's so iconic, but it is interesting to think that you view it that way. Like I couldn't imagine, Hot Fuzz anyone else, or Go Back to Dead Man's Shoes anyone else. So it's so interesting to hear that perspective.
Yeah, I nearly didn't do Hot Fuzz.
What?
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. I had this weird trip to America. I think it was the first time I was out there doing that thing where you're meeting people, and I got offered 2 films. And then my agent at the time went, "What are you doing?" Like, I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What are you doing in the room? What are you doing?" I said, "What? Nothing. I'm just talking to people." Because you've been offered these 2 films. And like, people have to audition, and I said, "I don't know, I'm just talking to the fucking, you know, like humans do." And so I went, "Oh, 2 films or Hot Fuzz?" I went, "Well, it's a no-brainer. 2 films, you know, Hot Fuzz, bye." And I had that thing that, you know, I just thought, Edgar Wright knows that many comedians, actors, they'll get somebody to replace me, no problem. And we weren't close to filming it or anything. It was Edgar Wright to thank, because he said, "No. No way."
I've always said Edgar Wright is a good guy.
Edgar Wright's not only a good guy, he's a brilliant guy, and he's one of the toughest fuckers I've ever known in my life. He was like, dug his heels in and went, no, you're doing my film, and I absolutely respected him for it. Because that only came because I had no sense of my own value. I just thought, well, it'll just replace me easily enough, and he saw the value in me, so I've got a lot to thank that man for as well.
I'm so attached to that film, it makes me feel a bit sick thinking of anyone else doing any role in that film.
He's the genius there.
Yeah.
Hello, Father.
Rhaenyra!
It's me. I was just wondering, what were the reactions
reactions of your relators during your final walk on the phone? To the phones?
What, my actual people in real life? Nothing. Nobody said anything. No. Nobody messages me, nothing. Nothing. I didn't hear anything off anybody. My wife and kids watched it, you know, they were moved with it, they really loved the show. But no, as far as other family, no, they're not bothered.
They're not real fans.
They're not.
Hands up if you got a question for Paddy. Yeah, we got it there and then we're coming over this way.
Hello. So there's a theory kind of that a certain Otto Hightower is involved with the citadel and maybe not treated Viserys until he was ready to marry his daughter. So do you think it makes sense that Otto Hightower together didn't treat you and also pushed you to not save Emma as well?
I don't know, because only one of the maesters was present with Emma. I think that was a dire situation. Whether or not they left me to get sicker and sicker as a move on the board, I don't know. I don't know what I think about that. Character-wise, no. No, I don't. As Viserys, I never thought once that people were trying to poison me or kill me. But I knew the game. I knew it was a game. Like Viserys knew what it meant to be a king, and the pressure of that. He wasn't silly. He wasn't a stupid man. He knew what was going on with the situation with Rhaenyra and his grandchildren. He wasn't a fool. But I'm not sure if he felt that he was being conspired against. If that answers your question.
Thomas over here, and then we're moving forward. Yeah, we've got two questions here, so yeah, and then
Hello.
At the end of the season, you are looking more and more terminally, I won't say ill, but terminally rotten.
Terminally erotic.
there's the t-shirt.
Rotten.
Paddy Considine, terminally rotten.
I thought you said totally erotic.
Totally erotic.
How long did it take to do the makeup, and how many people were executing your makeup?
So that
rotten version.
Yeah, that makeup was like, we got it started around the 4-hour mark. I remembered it as being longer, but I got told off about that. It was, because it made my makeup artist look bad. So it got to 4 hours, and then we got it down to 3.5 hours. And there was 2 people working on me, that's all, to get that look. And then some of it was with my eye and cheek missing. Some of that was painted in, and then they CGI'd it. But yeah, it was a lot of hours. Funny enough, I had a brief chat with the great Robert Englund earlier, and that's the man who knows about sitting in the chair. And he said, "You'll play scary characters." I'm like, what? But no, he's a man that knows, he's been through it. And yeah, but the worst thing about it is that you've been in work 3.5 hours, then everybody turns up for work all tired, the other actors go, "Morning," and you can't help but sit in the chair and go, "Fuck off." You can't be tired. And then at the end of the day, when everyone's "see you tomorrow," you're there for another hour and a half getting it off, but it had to be done, you know, it looked so good.
It was incredible every week to watch, like, you come out looking so much worse than the week before, and then Matt Smith walks out just with a new haircut.
Yeah. With Viserys, it's like, what's going to fall off this week?
At what point does
I would watch that game show.
At what point does it swap over? When the time comes where it takes longer and longer for them to make you look less and less old.
Yeah. That's
Not for a while, not for a while.
not for a while. No.
So, is it serious? Would you like Nesta to be your aunt? And also, like, would you be proud of your granddaughter Daenerys for what she did?
No, I wouldn't. She lost her mind. No, I wouldn't have been proud of her at all. She needed to be more Viserys.
Lose your nose, that's okay. Lose your mind.
And what about
She's no granddaughter of mine.
what about Ned Stark as your hand? Would you like to be your hand?
As stark as my hand.
Specifically Ned.
Ned Stark.
You and Sean B.
Oh, Ned. See, that's what I kept getting. You're the Ned Stark of season 1 of House of the Dragon.
Imagine you and Ned Stark walking into a room and everyone's like, this doesn't look good for anyone.
These guys aren't getting out alive.
We got more questions, yeah, we got another one coming in. Hands up if you've got your questions. We got a couple over here and then we're going to have, yeah, 1, 2, 3 and then we're out, I think.
Hi. Hello. Which is the dragon you like the most?
Which one?
Which dragon?
Oh, Valerian. I never got to ride a dragon, sadly, but that was my dragon I used to ride, apparently. But the set for that was amazing because we had his skull on a giant plinth. I really like those scenes and shooting in that room. So yeah, my favourite dragon, although we never see him in action, is Valerian. Are you from the Warriors?
No, it's Walking Dead.
Oh, The Walking Dead. Well,
See
fair
what you
enough.
do. I watched The Warriors this week. Still great.
It's still a great film.
Still great.
Love
Which
that
gang would you
film.
be in The Warriors?
The Warriors.
Would you?
Yeah.
Them or the baseball ones?
Baseball Furies.
Yeah,
They're badass.
Great gang.
I have a band and we play, and the last part of our set, which was before this song we did called Heat, we played the Cyrus speech from the Warriors.
Oh, nice.
We
Which
was,
is also
you dig it.
which is in California. Thingy, California.
Yeah.
Second man to sample it. Two big samples.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll get distracted with some bunch of Warriors.
It's gone.
Thomas, where are you? Hands up, we had 2 over here, and then these 2, and then we'll let you go, man.
No problem. Listen,
This is better than sitting around there eating M&Ms in the waiting room.
Another great t-shirt.
Hi, I actually wondered if you were really scared doing House of the Dragon after your fiasco this season of Game of Thrones.
I wasn't scared at all. No, I wasn't. I loved it. Do you know I didn't have that same fiasco? I watched Game of Thrones completely passed me by. I never watched it. I had a box set of it in its cellophane for about 5 years, and I never got around to watching it. It was in the lockdowns that I started watching it, and about 3 seasons in when I got the call about House of the Dragon. So to me, I thought there was a great synchronicity there. I didn't know all about the controversy about this Series 8. I didn't know it. My only disappointment when I saw the episodes come up was there was only 8 episodes and usually there was 10. So I never had all that about it. I didn't realise the books had run out. I didn't know anything. So I just watched the show and enjoyed it. But I think also, even from that point of view, I think when you're invested so much in a show, everybody starts to write their own endings. They want it fulfilled in their way. And I can only imagine that was probably part of the reason why it didn't land. And it may have felt a bit rushed as well, you know, but there was still great moments in it. I don't know, is George going to write them? Is that his plan?
That's been a contentious issue for a long time. I wouldn't start that debate in this room.
No.
You'll get down a rabbit hole. We get one more question.
Well, I didn't think that way. You know, it didn't bother me.
Also, just then, when you did Viserys' voice, did they give you any notes on what that should be?
No, not at all.
So you just found like regal and...
Yeah, not too good fan of, you've got to play the human. That dialogue is so stilted if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So I had to look at the really great actors that were in the original series, and just I wanted to be amongst that, you know, level, and I took it very, very seriously. You know, I obviously farted around on set and had a laugh, but it was my job to make that really believable, and that was a challenge as an actor. I played him as a real person. I don't care about dragons and magic. He was a real man, a real person to me, and that's important. And also, you've got to make him human. You can't just go, oh, I'm the king, you know, and act like a king.
I would watch that version.
The crowd tells you he's the king, you know what I mean? We know he's the fucking king. So just be a person, and then it all seems to work from there, you know?
So, but again, like, you can see where you're playing the politics in the character's head.
Yeah.
Of like, I have to withhold, these guys want to go to war, I can't overly go against it. And, oh, beautiful. We have one last question here.
Yes, hi. Do you think that Alison could have sided with her father or with your daughter when you died? Because now you told the story about Meghan and she sided with her father. She thought her son would go on the throne. But if you didn't tell her that, which side would you have chosen?
Sorry, which side would...
Would Alison have chosen her father or Rhaenyra? Because now she chose her father because you told that Aegon, her son, would have the throne.
Yeah. So, do you think that Viserys should have told Alicent about the...
Nothing. I hope that I couldn't tell it, but I was really frustrated when you
But she
told me.
misunderstood it anyway.
Yes.
You know.
That's the most dad
She never listens to me. Yeah, but she misunderstood it, you know, and that was the beautiful thing. That was also something about the script that I thought was really exciting when I read it. That this thing, this prophecy we know actually does come to fruition many years later. I don't know if I've answered your question. I doubt if I have.
I've been Paddy Considine. Good night. We are going to have to let you go because there's a lot of people who want to be out there, and it's been a joy though. It's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All
Sorry,
day.
I've been like...
No, because everyone always sits over there.
Well, I'm
and I
lazy.
feel so far away from everyone.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah, come to
appreciate
my side, Paddy.
it. Yeah, but like with a dog. Like, who's your favourite? Yeah.
Yeah. Comic-Con Belgium? That's it!